All right, ShopDog says it's time to start another pole barn video. This doesn't really belong with the Catalina. It doesn't belong with Bent. It doesn't belong to the Henry J. It belongs to the pole barn. So we are going to, while the scaffold's in this room, get started. I want an airline over here, another one over here, and then I think I want to add one over on this wall as well. Remembering with this product, I can always cut in and add more. It's pretty forgiving. It's not forgiving, but it's a rigid plastic with metal in it, and straightening it's going to be really fun. It cuts really good. I think you can see the metal. I don't have everything I think I need, but I have an awful lot. So what we have is, this is kind of how the drops will look. You know, I screwed it into the wall. I bought some 45s to kind of take some of the weight of a hose sticking straight out off. So the tube comes into these compression fittings on the top or the back if you mounted it in the wall, which we didn't. And that gives you that. And then of course your water clean out here. You know, you can just turn that and clean the water out. So those go vertical. So the first one, I can bring up arc, come to the first T, then you get a drop, then it go across. This T will be pointed just like that up towards the edge there, and then shoot one across there and down so that I can have air on the other side of the shop and not trip over hoses. And then we will bore a hole through the wall there, put a piece of PVC in there just to kind of make it safer, and then feed a length of tube longer than it needs to be, because the next T will be over here and that will drop down, and we will work out what we're doing with that. So I think the first thing we will figure out is how long drops need to be so that we can pre-bend and practice bending and straightening the material and get that going. But anything I can do while the scaffold is set up in here definitely helps. It's also a big part of why I really have been trying to put everything on wheels. It makes it a little easier to get things out of your way. So that's kind of how this system's going to work. And then you can see we've got a bunch of drops going across. And the beauty is it cuts. You can put more compression fittings in. You can add anytime you want. So it's not free by any stretch, but you know, it's pretty easy to add more to. And then, you know, I mean, it's just 1/2 inch, you know, pipe thread. I mean, it's just, you could put, you know, regular ass iron threaded bar stock in there, no problem at all. So, you know, you get some options. There's definitely some options. So that is part of what we're playing with today. The other thing is there will be a Bent 69 video getting started here shortly, since a lot of the seat material is here and she wants to kind of go through some of that. So that's going to be the start of this pole barn video. On the pole barn side of this video, we kick that on to show how quiet it is and how stable it is. And it's actually getting kind of warm in here. So you can see it's already up to 58, so let's actually tank that down a little bit. I don't need that running right now because the floor is already set for, well, it's not set for 58. What are we set at? For 56. So it was already warm in here. You know, when it's winter and cold, I don't know how well you can see all that snow out there. It's kind of nice to have a nice warm spot. Don't worry about this big mess. We're slowly sorting. I've been bringing stuff down from the old shop up at the garage. And bring it down, sort it. Bring it down, sort it. You gotta go through everything. It takes time. So we're just kind of clearing room for the scaffold right now to get started. This is going to be a fun video to sort out, but we're slowly just putting things together. You know, it's all the little work you got to do. Got to be done. Okay, we are now testing our mounting idea. I'll probably grab a box of short tech screws. I just reached in there and grabbed some 1 1/4 apparently. But want to make sure that this doesn't pull off the tin, which I can tell you now, I think it would take quite a bit to pull that off. We're actually going to probably throw a pry bar on there and get a little destructive. I just need to know that that's going to hold up, and if it is, I'll probably grab, you know, a slightly shorter tech screw, you know, probably some 1-inchers, and or 3/4 might work just perfectly, and call it good. But yeah, that's plenty strong, especially if I can put it near a rib. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Okay, this is our 54-inch bottom height. This is a weird fitting, but you just click it. Should have enough strength, and then you just pull it out. So, is it ideal? No, but the wood is right here. You know, wood runs there, up there, and way up there. So, also with that metallized tube going up, I think that'll work out pretty good because I'll be able to put the clips into wood. So, we're getting ready to run the first one. Okay. Here's how we're doing this. The kit comes with this sizer and cleaning end. So we're going to basically just deburr it so you don't tear up these O-rings. Now that that's cleaned up, you take, there's a compression ferrule, a compression nut, so you slide those on. And then there's 2 O-rings and a Teflon seal. So you get over the O-ring, and then you just tighten that up until that collapses. So right now we didn't do that, but you can see, I'll show you real quick if I can get the ring to come out. So that will collapse down, you know, just like every compression fitting you've ever seen. And there's 2 barbs right here. Hopefully you guys can see that in profile. So the O-rings provide quite a bit of the actual sealing, but this compressing down on these 2 barbs right here is what provides the strength. And then the Teflon end is what this is pushing hard against. So once all this is tightened up, this is good for 200 PSI is what it's rated for. I have a feeling it's actually good for quite a bit more than that. Right now, we're just doing a pre-cut and testing, so I'm not going to tighten it all the way down yet because I might want to redo it. And then we're just slowly straightening the pipe. One of the problems with this pipe is it's aluminum inside, which has caused us some issues with uncoiling. So before we get too crazy, what we thought we would do is start working it up, figuring out what our actual drop length down here is, you know, because you lose a little bit with everything, and then mark it and cut it. So I'm going to go up to scaffolding and play with this. They're going to mark it down here, and we'll show you after it's been cut. RapidAir Maxline is starting to work its way around. It's a little harder to work with, you know, as far as getting it straight than I'd hoped, but wasn't paying $200 and some for the roller tool. So it is what it is. Plus, it can't really be straight anyway, because then it would go through too much wood. I had to drill through one chunk of wood as it is. But you can see we're getting ready to do the drop over there. You can see it mounted where gaskets used to be. And then, you know, I've got a protective sleeve there. And then she's coming around into here. So, you know, right now she's just right there. That's going to go up to a T up amongst those boxes, which is going to be loads of fun because that box weighs 100 pounds all by itself. But then that'll drop down in here. So we'll figure out exactly where we want that drop. But we left this plenty long enough because that way I don't have to set the scaffold back up in this room for that T there. So we are going to have to push the scaffold back up and hit back on that clip and straighten the line a little bit, but it's coming along. The clips don't convince it. They're just there to help support it if it already wants to be there. So, you know, don't think the clips are magic. They only just kind of hold it. But here you can see, one, my furnace tee that I had to do for condensation, but two, how we ran that through the wall. ShopDog has been supervising, and he said, hey, before you tear the scaffold down, you guys better test this side before you go over. So in a cardinal no-no, we have 2 females and 2 males splitting them together. And we have a cap on this end. And then over here, I threw an awful lot of air. That's more volume than you realize. But I threw that in there, and while we're cleaning up and moving stuff, we're just going to wait and see if that bleeds down. Now, I know there's a small leak here, but it takes a long time to leak. So, because that was never going to be permanent, so I wasn't too worried about it. But before we go through all the work of tearing down and getting stuff over here and moving the fridge back and everything, let's just verify that we're happy. So he's soaping and checking for leaks. And I will climb up on scaffold in a minute and check up on the 2 T's and make sure we have no problems. All right. We're getting ready to actually move the scaffold because it held pressure as well as the fitting I have over there does anyway. So no extra air loss. We're pretty happy. So for right now, we've got 3 drops in this room. We're going to go add 2 drops in there and see where that takes us. So, you know, I think in a couple weeks, this will all be done, the fan will be done, and maybe we can get scaffolding out of here. So, we're working on it. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. We're in the home stretch. A lot of stuff had to come off the shelves, obviously. But you can see we've got a drop here, a drop here. I don't know if you can see, but we're teed right there, and we're getting ready to bring that all the way around. Turn the corner, come on down to right here, and this is going to actually be, when I get the right fitting for over here, where we come in. And then since this isn't going to be our water drop like the other ones, you know, we're just going to use this as, you know, just an extra. Otherwise I could have piped it in there too. But yeah, it's a lot of work, a lot of up and down, a lot of moving stuff, but we're getting there. I think you can see it there. We are now testing the whole pressure system. Now I don't have the right fittings to go to the compressor just yet. I'm gonna have to go to Menards or Depot. But you can see we've got it running around, teed down. So we got 3 drops in this room, and this stuff's, it's real easy to add more. We come around to this room. We have a drop here, going to right here, another one right here, going straight up, comes around, and we're coming around, and then we actually used one. This is going to be our input. So instead of that, I think I showed in another clip that we have a hose to go there, to go over to the regular, but I got to get a couple different parts to make that a little nicer. And then we even added one here just in case you want one over here. So that one won't be quite as high a pressure, but that's fine for almost everything I do. I don't paint, so. But yeah, that in an area you can't get the scaffold wasn't very fun, but we got it. So there's a lot of stuff to go back up, but I'd like to leave this pressured, kind of give it a chance before I go monkeying that, and I'm kind of tired. So I think this is going to wrap up this pole barn video, where we now actually have air run around the shop.